Namaste. How are you doing? I didn't receive any messages from you, and I hope you are doing well. You're living in peace, happiness, and the joy 24 by 7. If not, you should have written to me. Or you have lost hope. Today, I'll just remind you that you are doing just 10 minutes of the Shanti mantra along with the japa. Om Shanti 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 every day. And those 10 minutes when you wake up in the morning and before retiring to the bed, you acknowledge and realize what is going on in your mind. Are you able to get rid of that or not? And then obviously I told you that just listen maybe 10-15 minutes, and listening to those 10-15 minutes, you have to contemplate and reflect. I have been repeating it again. If you are following that pattern, there is no chance for any challenges in your life. And then you practice and you experience. So after the practice, your mind dwells on what experiences I'm feeling at the physical, mental, and the emotional level. Can I forward? Can I continue to be into that state? And if you continue to be into that state, if you have an impure mind, it will prick you and you will recognize. This is the issue which is constantly causing the problem. And what? You just write to me. And then what happens once you experience, you have to apply that wisdom in your daily life. You're talking to your daughter or brother or sister or anyone or son. You apply that wisdom, it lives in your mind. If it is not living in your mind, what is going to happen? You are looking at your daughter and the past impression takes over you. And that is not going to help us. Who is responsible? I am. I invite those past impressions again and again. Should I need to repeat those, recall those past impressions, or I should start living totally in a different way with a new perspective of the life? Just ask yourself, if I continue to live with a hatred against a person, for example, a reaction against a person, will I be able to live in peace and happiness? What is the fun of it? And that we have to analyze, daily analysis before going to sleep. You have to just, I have been telling you, you have to just do it for a week. The mind is going to transform itself. It will start dropping its impurities daily, and within a week, your mind will be highly motivated. It will become a faithful servant. Do you still remember? If the mind is becoming the master, it is the worst master. It's going to cause you a lot of problems and challenges in your life. Nobody outside causes the challenge. It is my own mind. Now, would you like to remember the word liberate? Now, I can easily remember. Now, I'm using the word liberate as an acronym. If somebody approaches you and he says that, I have to get landscaping done for my house in the backyard and the front yard, your mind remembers everything, what needs to be done, and accordingly you put the price. So that acronym is already present in your head. You need not to think. But when you explain to your client, you you have to use every expression. Why I'm saying so? Remember the word liberate. Liberate is an acronym. I'll give you the meaning of each letter, and you should remember each letter. Why? The way you remember landscaping business. So you remember the landscaping business, you know all the ins and outs, and you can easily give an estimate, and then you negotiate. Same thing with a liberate. I'll give you the meaning of each letter, and then you start working in your head. And once you start working in your head, you have an anxiety gone, anger gone, reaction gone. Once you follow this liberate acronym I've created especially for you. So the first letter is L, listening and learning. But here the L means do live in my real self. How to live in my real self? Just remember that I'm of the nature of real self. Recall and remember. Recall. Is it possible? Recall and remember my nature is happiness, love. Nothing less, nothing more. Just remember a couple of times during the day or whenever you have a challenge. You have an anxiety, liberate. First letter, oh, my nature is peace and happiness. How dare anxiety has entered into you instantly. L, first letter. Second letter is I, investigate. False identities. I identify myself with an experience which I say anxiety. I identify myself with a reaction. I say I'm in stress. I identify myself with anger and I say I'm frustrated. I identify myself with a lot of things, and that identification results into fear, failure, frustration, reaction, anxiety, duality, conflict. So what is the letter I means? Investigate. Where is the identification? Are you getting it? Identification. So investigate the false identities. Clear? We are using the word liberate. Don't forget this word liberate as an acronym, and then remember the meaning of each letter, and then tell me where is anxiety, where is the stress, and where is the suffering. So we have covered the first letter L. We have covered the second letter I. What about B? In liberate. Break free from the attachment. Break the connection between the false and you. Anxiety and you. Are you an anxiety or you are different from, separate from anxiety? You and the fear. Are you one with the fear? Can you say that I am fear, or you say I have a fear? Separate. Break the connection. That is what it means, the B. When you break the connection, your attachment is gone. When your attachment is gone, your mind starts being relieved. Break the connection between you and anxiety, you and reaction, you and anger, you and frustration, you and fear. How? By thinking. Just by saying, oh, anxiety is separate, different from me. Let me understand it. B is the breaking. Or break free from the attachment. So I'm just saying break the connection between you and your experiences. So LIB we have done. E. Eradicate, eliminate delusion. So when you see that you and anxiety is there, and because of the delusion, you say this anxiety appears real, but it is not. It is happening because of the attachment. So once you follow the B, you can easily eliminate the delusion. Eradicate, eliminate the delusion. Delusion means, I have told you, what appears true is not true. Water appears in the mirage in Arizona, but it is not. Water is not there in the mirage. Anxiety appears real, as most doctors say. Anxiety is unfounded worries. It has no basis. It has no foundation. Are you getting it? We are still learning. Liberate. We have covered the letter L. Do you remember? If you don't remember, you have to repeat listening. You have to remember the acronym with each word. And I. Then B. We have done B. We have done E. Eliminate. Then the next letter comes as the R. How I say R? Relax and calmness. If your intellect follows L, I, B, E, result is always relax and calm. I have seen thousands of people I have coached, I have mentored. Thousands and thousands in. How come? Because you already know the principles of Eastern wisdom. You have been doing it for years. So L, I live in that. So just recall and remember, I investigate the false self. False self. How the false self? You remember the false identity. False identities. Break. Now, once you recognize the false identity, B means you break the connection. You say in your mind, you simply say in the mind, I and anxiety both are separate. I and fear are separate. I and frustration are separate. Are you getting it? I'm saying you say in your mind. E, once they are separate, so it is why they were together, because of the delusion. So now you have eliminated the delusion. E, R means relax and calm. So you should experience that relax and calm comes from within. So you will first time you will recognize that calmness is coming from within you. By repetition. By repetition, what will happen? Your mind will always look for calm. Look for calmness inside within you. Are you getting it? So R we have done. Then A. Liberate. A. You acknowledge, you say in your mind, you have a joy. Oh, that calmness, that acknowledge, that calmness is independent of anything outside. It does not depend on It does not depend on any object, person, situation at all. Acknowledge. A. Then another letter is T. Transcend the limitation. Recognize that you had an anxiety reaction, fear, frustration at that moment because you limited yourself. Limitation means my ego has taken over me, causing these problems. But now I transcend that limitation. I have transcended that I-ness. And you'll definitely have a smile. Last letter is E, embody freedom. And you enjoy the freedom. Why you enjoy the freedom? Because that joy is independent. That joy is independent of any person, object, situation, relations in life. Mom, you are crazy. Can you apply Liberate? Oh, mom is a label. I have to investigate why my son said that you are crazy. So when I investigate, I see that I have attached myself. I have to investigate. False identity. Oh, a lie. So I have to break the connection. Nobody can give me a certificate that I'm crazy. So I have a bigger smile. You see the break and you are relaxed and calm. Thank you, son. But if I forget, then obviously I will get carried away. Then I will think that nobody should say like this to me. And if they say it, then I will be frustrated. You cannot stop the mouth of anyone. Again, understand the liberate. Don't forget. We will continue to follow this liberate acronym to get rid of lot of challenges that includes anxiety, reaction, frustration, fear, failure, long list. Prepare a list of frustration, failure, stress, suffering, and we will get rid of every facet of our life to live in peace and happiness. So it's important to understand the liberate. Liberate, we already know the meaning, but liberate is an acronym. So I said L means to live in the real self by recalling, by remembering, is to encourage honesty. I have to be honest to myself. We have to recall and remember and remind by thinking and feeling. Come what may, apply, investigate. I means the investigate the self. I explore. I think. Where is the false identity? You say me I'm crazy and I'm upset. I have to investigate that you said me crazy. So there is an identity between craziness and me. And then the B comes. I recognize I and anxiety. They two are different things. They cannot be one. I break free. So the feeling, I had a negative feeling, it drops. Then E. E is eliminate. Now I know I and anxiety are different. So let me drop it. I drop the delusion. Eliminate the delusion. So I followed L, I, B, E. First 4 steps I follow, I should recognize and experience, relax and calm. That is what the R is. If I don't follow, If I am not relaxed and calm, let me go back. I'm just saying thinking just for a few seconds. And few seconds means that your mind is consciously thinking inside to reach to that state of the relaxed and calm, but we have to continue. That is what our masters say. So after R, the letter is A. Let me acknowledge that peace and calm is independent of anything outside. And T, oh, now I recognize I created a lot of limitations in my personality, in my behavior, in my attitude with the thought and feeling. Let me drop all. So when I drop all, I enjoy the freedom. The last letter is B, liberate. Do you remember? Or you can start thinking in your own way, liberate. And with each word you write and send to me, that how you think. Remember any past event where you had the anxiety, apply liberate and write to me. So how can one practically apply live in the truth? Live in the truth step in daily life. To live in the truth means I recall and remember my nature is peace. But saying that, I have to practice radical honesty with myself and with others. I have to regularly reflect on my actions and motivations rather than I continue to live in blame, complaint, reaction, duality, and conflict. I have to align my thought and actions. And I have to continue listening and learning and doing the practice in the morning and evening. So the entire journey, even for a week, will take you away from. I'm explaining again. L I have explained. Are you clear? Second is investigate yourself or investigate the false identity. So how you investigate the false identity? So when you are doing your work of daily analysis every day, you will recognize how many false identities you have had during the day, which caused you the anxiety, and you can contemplate and reflect. And you are already doing the practice. So it will help you to and investigate self also means that I have to recall, I have to ask a question, who am I? I'm the real self. I'm of the nature of peace and happiness. But you say I'm of the nature of blame and complaint, reaction, duality, and a conflict. So when I say that I'm of the nature of fear and frustration, what is going to happen? Li. We have done LIB. Breaking free. Breaking free. Break the connection between I and anxiety, I and reaction, I and frustration, I and fear. I told you. So what will happen when you break this connection? You break the attachment. You drop the attachment. So when you break the attachment, then what happens? Your mind moves into a non-reactive mode. I can bet you. But I have to follow this. If I don't follow, then I say I have a lot of challenges. So Li, we have done LIB. So once I have done LIB, I recognize instantly the delusion part. I and anxiety can never go together. I and fear can never go together. I and reaction can no, but they are going together because of impulsive nature, because of attachment, because of identification. So I have already break free. So what is I eliminated the delusion. When I eliminated the delusion, what happened? I can feel and experience the relax and calmness there and then. Sometimes people in a group say that you seem to be crazy, and my instant answer is I'm more crazy than you think. I am more crazy than you think. Now, what happened? What is that state of the mind? That state of the mind acknowledges what it acknowledges, that nobody can give me a certificate that I'm crazy. Second, I took that word of craziness being said by someone in the group doesn't influence and dictate me and my life, my emotions. So what happens? I am relaxed and calm. So outer influences do not dictate me. Will it come in a day? It depends on you. You're extraordinarily aware and alert, it will come in a day. If it is not, but if you follow the self discipline, which I discussed in the very beginning, it will come in a week. So we have done R, liberate, L-I-B-E-R, and then A. So A means I acknowledge that this calmness is coming from within me. It is independent of anything outside. It is independent of anything outside. And then liberate, T-E. What is T? Transcend the limitations. What is that limit? It is because of the limitations caused by an I thought or ego being obsessed with the reaction and attachment and delusion. I have already dropped the limitations. When I have dropped the limitation, I embody the freedom in me, freedom in you. My mind do not start thinking ill of others' reaction, because if I'm thinking ill and reaction in my head, because it will grow, it will create more problem. Liberate. You know the meaning of liberate, and you also know the acronym now. That can be applied wherever you want to apply, wherever you have an anxiety. You don't have an anxiety reaction, you apply it. Why? Because your thought, feeling, and emotions will have a positive expression. How can a seeker, you as a seeker, gauge the progress by a liberate model? How can you check the progress? Today you have practiced, tomorrow you wake up in the morning, you live in higher self-awareness. You are honest to yourself. You will recognize that I'm calm and relaxed, and you are scrupulously honest to yourself. You are looking at the progress. Greater emotional stability and equanimity. Now you cannot be easily dictated, disturbed by outer influences coming from people, relationships, situation, event, etc., etc. You see that, there is a storm outside, isn't it? Right. Okay. Does the storm enter into you to create a stress, or it is your mental identification? Go to the liberate model. Do you see that? So, but if I identify myself, then I'm causing a problem to myself. So reduce to reactivity and attachment to the outcome. So you are not concerned about what should be the outcome. You think, speak, and act in calm, peace, joy. Finished. Free from delusion. After breaking the connection between you and the other stuff that causes the attachment. So only the best outcome will be there. Increase compassion. We are just understanding that if you apply the Liberate model, you'll have the experience of enhanced compassion and understanding towards others. A growing sense of inner peace and contentment will take over your life. More frequent experiences of the joy and the gratitude. You gain an ability to maintain presence and awareness in the daily activities. Did you understand the Liberate model? Liberate, L, ladder, live. Think of it, what I said. I, investigate. Think of it, what I said. B, break. E, eliminate. R, relax. Liberate, B-E-R. Then A, acknowledge. Now you acknowledge peace and calm in yourself. T, get rid of all the limitations. You've already attended so many sessions. I believe you understand. Well, if you don't understand, then I'll start it again. So don't be upset. And so, okay. So, liberate. And the last one, embody. I embody my real self. Why embody my real self? There is no outer influences attacking my mind. Now, what will happen if they attack the mind? Go back. When I investigate, I feel the outer situation in the world is attacking me, causing me the anxiety because I did not investigate. I did not recognize the false identities. I did not break free. I did not break the connection between I and anxiety. I and anxiety is here in the mind, you are here, and situation is outside. That situation, do you see that that particular situation or a person or a relation, anxiety is written there? No, it's not written there. Then why I have an anxiety? This is I did not examine. So I have a false identity. I have an attachment. So L-I, B, break free. I and anxiety is broken. So what I recognize, I and anxiety, if they are together, it is a delusion. I and stress, it is a delusion. I and pain, it is a delusion. Okay. And I break free, then I experience. I eliminated the delusion. What happens? Relax and calmness is there. Really? I'm not saying that you have to scrupulously follow and then relax and calm. Oh, liberate, relax, liberate. Now, ATE. I acknowledge that peace and calm which I'm experiencing coming from within. It cannot come from outside. But then I go little deeper. I recognize my limitations and I transcend those limitations once and forever. And then I embody myself. Then what is meaning of embody yourself? Embodies your real self. For example, your daughter previously used to cause the anxiety, but now you are still with the same daughter. Your daughter did not change. You have a full proof. And you embody the real self. Why? You are not influenced and dictated by the outer influences, people, relationship, situation. Are you getting it? If you're not getting it, listen to again. And still you're not getting it, write to me that what you are teaching is wrong. but prove it. What are the common challenges? Now understand, what are the common challenges one might face when applying the Liberate model in your daily life and how to overcome it? Both. Common challenges. Can you recognize what is the common challenge that you have? I would say your mind has, not you, because you are of the real nature of peace and happiness. What about your mind? So, common challenges. There is in my mind, there is a resistance to change. Why there is a resistance to change? Because I have created a false notion about other. You are crazy. You caused the reaction to me. So I don't want to think over it. I don't want to break this connection. That is what the resistance to change. Liberate model will help you. I recognize I'm L. I recognize, live in the true nature. When I investigate, then I recognize that my mind is constantly thinking about others. This guy is going to cause me anxiety. This guy is crazy. That guy is. So, why I have to think about it? Investigate. So, you drop the resistance to change. Where is the second challenge? We have a lot of doubt. That doubt can only be removed not only when you listen to these principles, but you contemplate and reflect and apply these principles in your daily life. Otherwise, the doubt is not going to go away anywhere. Today you have heard, you did not contemplate, reflect. Tomorrow the doubt will return again. Inconsistent practice. We are trying to answer what are the common challenges or obstacles one might face when applying the Liberate model and how to overcome them. So you already know if I'm inconsistent practice, what I need to do. I bypass. What are the other challenges? The spiritual bypassing. I bypass everything. And I receive someone who says something, and then he is outside, he said something which enters into my mind. It did the gossip, and now my mind is in the mode of reaction, and I am here. Then this I and the reaction got mixed up, which is called the attachment, that is known as the spiritual bypassing. So we continue to bypass. You are wrong. Now come on, my mind. Let me go to the relax and calm first. Eliminate the delusion first, and then I will talk to you. Liberate. Attachment to the spiritual experiences. Attachment to the spiritual experiences. What does it mean? Today I did the practice and I experienced the extreme calmness, and tomorrow that degree of calmness is not there. And I get worried. I created another problem rather than thinking which I have to investigate, which thought prevented me to have that deeper level of difficulty with our self-investigation. Because my mind forgets how to investigate, how to recognize what is attachment and what is delusion. It simply forgets. Why it forgets? Because mind is the master. Mind is the worst master. It is the greatest, most faithful servant. If you don't make it a servant, impatience for the result. I'm impatient. You see that? I tell you, you are one guy who was doing the practice for continuously 6 months. He had 3 sessions every week. And after 3 months, he said, I'm impatient, I'm not getting a result. So I said, your impatience will continue for another 6 months and you will have no result. Can you have patience? So the next week, he stopped thinking that he stopped dreaming of the peace and happiness, because when I dream of peace and happiness, I'm still in another level of delusion. Dreaming is a delusion. So when I explained to him, he said, you seem to be right. I said, make it sure. You are dreaming that you are a president of United States. You are sitting in the White House. Everyone follows your orders. And suddenly a dog jumps on your body and you wake up. Is it not a delusion? Do you get out of the delusion? Yes, the same way. So the impatience means today I will sit into the meditation. Yes, and I will enter into the permanent peace and happiness. So your mind is continues to think about permanent peace and happiness rather than following the steps in the practice. Oh, he said, this is what has been happening to me. I said, can you drop that dreaming of a result during the practice? This week, the next week he came. He's evolving much faster. Changed completely. His behavior, attitude changed. How does the Liberate model integrate with other practices that you are doing? You know what is the Liberate model? You will see that I give a lesson bit by bit. But this Liberate model covers all the eightfold steps of Buddhism. In a general way, I'm saying you, in a general way, it also, you can also interpret Liberate model uh, in Christianity, where a person deepens one's relationship with the God. I did not talk about the God. It's pure, clear. Yeah, I don't want to go into that area, but I'm just telling you. It will help you to accelerate and deepen the practice of mindfulness if you follow the Liberate model, my friends. Is it possible to drop and destroy the delusion by Liberate model? I discussed about it in the eradicate or eliminate the delusion. Before I eliminate the delusion, I have to understand L-I-B. I have to understand all. First, I have to understand that my nature is real self. Then when I investigate, I have to recognize the false identity. Then I have to break free this connection, I anxiety, I reaction, I frustration, I fear, and then only I can eliminate the delusion. Any delusion. Live in the L means live in the truth or live in the real self or recall and remember that I am of the nature of the real self. Then only I can approach. Do you know the sum of three angles of a triangle is 180 degree? Now I know the answer, but I don't know how Liberate model tells you that you are of the nature of the real self. How Follow the Liberate model. You know that you are of the nature of the real self. So you see, first is I is investigate the self. You drop false identity, break free the connection, and eliminate the delusion. What is the indication of eliminating the delusion? You find relax and calm. You find that anxiety is gone. I have 89-year-old woman from New Jersey. She is wonderful. She has been with me since 2008. She wants to awaken herself. She only does not want to live in peace and happiness. So she says that at the age of the 89, my mind was crazy, and my mind wants to think of craziness, which I did in the past, which I did not do in the past. So why should I waste my mind? Why should I waste my time to think and recall those events? Why shouldn't I focus on the journey of the Eastern wisdom? Have you have you heard the word awakened? She is awakened. She enjoys every lesson. She says, what should I do? It's better. Every week I listen and learn, and then I contemplate and reflect. Then I talk to my kids and children. I'm living alone. I never felt that I'm living alone. I always experience that there is an abundance of love, calmness, and the joy in my life. 89 years old, living alone, doing everything alone. Liberate model. I introduced to her in a different way. I created another model. I created an aware model, more or less on the same line. But when I started thinking, and I said, no, I have to create a model so that you remember all the time, and then you can get rid of. So you break free, you eliminate the delusion, you are relaxed and calm, you acknowledge a you acknowledge, oh, it's calmness is within me. And then you recognize that calmness is veiled by the limitation of my thought, speech, and action. I identify with the outer situation. That is normally is known as the ego. And then I embody the freedom. How to understand liberate model removes the delusion. Did I explain to you? And the impurities of the mind. If I have to answer this question is how to understand liberate model removes the delusion and the impurities of the mind. I increase my level of awareness. In that heightened state of awareness, I become aware of my belief, my thoughts about others, about myself. So with that higher awareness, I recognize I have to drop this. It is not required. It gives you a framework for challenging your false belief. And then you break free. When you break free, what happens? Or realize you come and you acknowledge it. So once this liberate model is settled in your mind, it prompts you instantly at any situation in your life to acknowledge true nature, embody the peace and happiness. The liberate model addresses the impurities of the mind. Not only it addresses the identification, attachment, and impurities of the mind, but through your higher level of awareness, it helps you to separate I and anxiety. I. And once you recognize they are separate, impurities is gone. So the most important thing to understand this Liberate model uses the intellect. Intellect means thought, intellect means knowledge, intellect means understanding, intellect means awareness. I gave you the different synonyms. Knowledge, understanding, awareness, and how? By thought. I'm into anxiety, but if I don't introduce a thought to investigate mentally, how can I progress? That is the meaning, that is the way the Liberate model uses the intellect. Are you getting it? Cultivating higher understanding that transcends my intellectual knowledge and gives me an experience by following the Liberate model. The last E is embody. I embody now calmness. I embody anxiety. I embody reaction. I embody frustration. Why? You already know it. You should answer. So, this model has been explained by a master who lived in 8th century. He was one of the great masters. Perhaps he wrote this verse, which I converted into a Liberate model, when he was 16 years of age. He lived hardly 32 years of age, and he wrote more than 200 books. My friend, I'm not teaching anything on my own. I carry forward that traditional wisdom, but yes, I explain in my own way. I personalize those sessions depending on each individual or a group. So now, just to give you a glimpse of this model, this what he said. He said this Liberate model in 5 steps. And he uses the first word, satsang. Satsang, sat means the real, sang means the company of the real. Help the mind to live in the company of the real. What is the real self? Of the nature of peace and happiness. How it is possible? By consistent listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, and practice. I'm explaining you from where I got this. So first is the satsang. So now Master says, as you listen and learn, plus contemplate and reflect, plus practice consistently, or you have another option. You listen and learn minus contemplation and reflection. Your mind continues with the same old belief, it is not going to change, and then you will blame and complain. Clear? But if I follow that listening, learning, contemplation, reflection, and the practice consistently, minus impatience, I discussed that before. What is going to happen? You discover that what you discover in your mind, a detachment. You drop the false identities. You drop the false identity with your anxiety, reaction, duality, and a conflict. So then what happens? The delusion that was settled in the mind, the third level, that is gone. You have a freedom from the delusion. So what happens by the freedom of the delusion? The fourth step, he says, Nishchal Tattvam. I feel relaxed and calm in any situation, in every situation. And if I continue to live into that inner calmness, peace, and the joy, I am awakened like that 89-year-old woman. She still does. Can you imagine? She said, what I have to do, I already have enough money, I already have a good house that is already paid off, so I don't need to worry. Why shouldn't I pay you just for 4 lessons in a month? And so she does a lot of contemplation and reflection. She writes to me what she said, that if I write, my psychologist told me, because I summarize and I write, I contemplate and reflect, I grow new brain cells at this age. And definitely, she is full of that joy and the peace. 89. So this Liberate model, we will follow the teachings of this master in order to understand there are number of delusion which causes fear, frustration, anxiety, duality, conflict, etc., etc. So we'll pick up each verse, we'll go deeper, we'll apply the Liberate model, we'll see how it works and how the real life situation can easily work with the Liberate model. From the next week, we are going to pick up the verse after the verse. It has got only 31 verses. 31 verses. So what is going to happen? If we apply the Liberate model, it will encourage you to live into that real self. It will help you to investigate the unknown areas where your mind has created a false belief. And you will see that how the Liberate model resonates with your real nature to live into the peace and happiness. It promotes breaking free from the attachment. We'll understand. We will apply this Liberate model into every verse, every situation, and we'll see. Oh, it becomes so easy. The model that this model focuses on eliminating the delusion. You eliminate the delusion part. And when you eliminate that delusion part, so you see that I told you Liberate model, it is an acronym, LIBERATE, almost eight steps. So why I have to give you the 8 steps when this master only say 5 steps? To make you understand, to help you easily approach this model. To live in the truth means that I am listening and learning, contemplation and reflection. That is what the satsang means. And investigate ourselves, Atma, self-inquiry. That also means this self-inquiry, investigate. So when I investigate, I drop what is not me and what is me. Why it comes? Because of attachment. From where the attachment? It is because of the impurity of the mind. Why the impurity of the mind? I have the impulsive nature. I take it that that person is responsible for my stress, duality, and a conflict, that situation, that condition. But when you investigate, you realize it is nothing like this. Investigation. So when you investigate, what happens? You break free. I have been telling you, right? And so when you see separation in the mind, that is what the detachment is. And once you have a detachment, what happens? You also drop the delusion, the E part. And when you drop the delusion part, what happens? You relax and calm. Relaxation and calmness. And if you continue to live into that state of relaxation and calmness, you embody the freedom, my friend. You embody the freedom. And if you embody the freedom, the life transforms.